Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
In July 2024, in the city of Barcelona, many people joined a protest. They walked down the famous Rambla Street. Some carried water guns. They used them to spray water at tourists eating at outdoor cafes. Other people used red tape on hotel doors and restaurant entrances. Their signs had a clear message: "Tourists go home." News from around the world showed these images. It looked like angry locals were fighting with infused holidaymakers. But the people protesting said this was not about hating tourists. They said it was about trying to live. It was about their survival in the city they call home. Not far from this protest, Sofia Martinez was busy. She is 28 years old and works as a graphic designer. She was putting her things into cardboard boxes. For 5 years, Sofia lived in the same apartment in a nice neighborhood. Then her landlord told her the rent would go up a lot. It would increase by 500 euros, from 900 to 1,400 euros every month. Sofia's salary is 1,800 euros after taxes. She explained her problem clearly. "If I pay this new rent, I will have only 400 euros left for everything else," she said. "This money must cover food, transport, electricity, and all other life costs. It is simply not possible to live like this." Sofia's story is not special in Spain. It is a common problem. Across the country, the price of housing has grown much faster than people's salaries. The average salary in Spain has not increased much in recent years, but rental prices have jumped up quickly. Many people now spend almost half of their income just on rent. In big cities like Madrid and Barcelona, the situation is even worse. For example, a person earning the minimum wage in these cities cannot afford a basic apartment, even if they spend all their money on rent. This creates a big challenge. Spain is a wonderful place for people to visit and enjoy, but for the people who live and work there, it has become a very difficult place to stay. It has turned into a paradise for visitors, but a trap for its own residents. This book will explore this problem. 2. The Big Crash. Spain joined the euro currency in 1999. This change brought very low interest rates. People saw this as a chance for a better future. Between the year 2000 and 2008, Spain experienced a huge building boom. An amazing 5 million new homes were constructed. This was more than what the United Kingdom, France, and Germany built together. At its peak, Spain built 600,000 homes every single year. Construction was not just an industry, it was the main focus of the country. By 2007, 1 out of every 5 jobs in Spain was in construction. People felt good, and unemployment dropped to just 8%. Families borrowed a lot of money for new homes. Banks offered loans very easily, sometimes for more than the house price. Everyone thought house prices would always go up. This period was called the Spanish Miracle. However, this good time ended suddenly. In 2008, a big global financial crisis began. It hit Spain very hard. International buyers stopped buying homes. Spanish banks had given too many risky loans. The building boom quickly turned into a bust. New construction almost stopped. From 600,000 homes built in 2006, it fell to only 30,000 by 2012. This was a 95% drop. The construction industry, which employed so many people, was destroyed. Many workers lost their jobs, and unemployment climbed sharply. It rose from 8% in 2007 to over 20% by 2010, and then to a very high 27% in 2013. This crash left a deep mark on Spain. Many workers lost their jobs and their careers. A whole generation had believed that building homes was a safe way to make a living. The collapse caused a collective trauma. Many young Spaniards left the country between 2008 and 2014, seeking work elsewhere. About 500,000 skilled workers moved to other parts of Europe. Even when the economy slowly got better, wages did not. For a full decade, salaries for most workers stayed almost the same. People younger than 35 lost a quarter of their buying power. Today, the average salary in Spain, after considering costs, is lower than before the 2008 crisis.
This creates a big problem. Many people are underpaid, yet they face very high living costs, similar to much wealthier European countries. This unfair situation, born from the big crash, makes everyday life incredibly difficult for many. The wound from 2008 still impacts Spain today. 3. Ghost towns. Imagine driving through parts of Spain today. You might see something strange. There are many large groups of apartment buildings and houses, often new, standing completely empty. Their windows are dark, and the streets are silent. These places are often called concrete necropolises or ghost towns. They are a sad reminder of Spain's large building boom from before 2008. One well-known example is Cesena, a town outside Toledo. During the building boom, developers constructed 13,500 homes there. The plan was to create a new city for 30,000 people. But when the big economic crisis happened, building stopped suddenly. Many apartment blocks were left half-finished and empty. Families who had bought homes found themselves living alone in large buildings meant for many. Cesena became a clear sign of how too many homes were built in places where people did not need to live or work. This situation presents a puzzling paradox. Spain has about 3.8 million empty homes, according to the INE, the country's national statistics office.
This number is huge. It is about 14% of all homes in Spain. If we think about it, Spain could theoretically give a home to every person who is homeless. It could house all young people who live with their parents because they cannot afford their own place. It could help every family living in a very small, crowded apartment. Yet these millions of empty properties do not solve the problem. This leads to a confusing question. How can a country have so many empty houses and, at the same time, a severe housing crisis? The answer is not simple. Many of these empty homes are not in a good state. They need a lot of repairs or renovations, which their owners cannot pay for. More importantly, most of them are in areas where few people want to live. These are often small towns, far from the big cities where most jobs are. So while cities like Madrid and Barcelona desperately need homes, these buildings stand far away and empty. Other reasons for empty homes include legal problems. Sometimes a house is owned by several family members who cannot agree on what to do with it. Also, after the crash, many banks ended up owning these properties. These are called toxic assets because they are hard to sell and can cause banks to lose money. Because of these past problems, banks are now careful and do not want to give money for new building projects. Spain truly needs more homes in its most active cities, but developers are still nervous after the crash.
They fear building too much again, so new construction is very slow. Spain builds only about 86,000 new homes each year. However, more than 182,000 new households need homes annually. This means the number of empty ghost towns grows, while the lack of affordable homes in job-rich cities becomes worse. The places with houses and the places with jobs simply do not match. 4. Too many tourists. The move in Spain began to change. People were no longer just welcoming hosts. They started to feel like their homes were becoming occupied territories. In July of 2024, thousands of people protested in Barcelona. They held signs saying, "Tourists go home." Some even sprayed water at tourists with water guns. The people said they did not hate tourists, they were fighting for their survival. This feeling was not just in Barcelona. In April 2024, many thousands of people protested in the Canary Islands. They wanted a stop to new tourism to help local people. In Palma de Mallorca, 10,000 people marched. They all had the same message: the Canary Islands are not for sale. They wanted a different way for tourism to work. These protests showed a big problem. In 2024, Spain had about 94 million tourists. Spain itself only has 48 million people. This means there were almost 2 tourists for every person living there. Tourism helps Spain's economy a lot, bringing in many billions of euros. It gives jobs to many people in hotels, restaurants, and shops. But too much tourism started to hurt the people who live in Spain all the time. Cities began to change to serve visitors more than residents. The problem grew because of short-term rentals, like those on Airbnb. For a landlord, it is often better to rent an apartment to tourists for a few nights than to a local family for a whole month. For example, a landlord might get 1,200 euros a month from a local family. But if they rent to tourists for 120 euros a night, they can make much more money. Even if the apartment is only rented half the time, it makes more than 21,000 euros a year. This is much more than what a local family can pay. Because of this, many landlords stopped renting to locals. The number of rental homes for Spanish people went down by more than half in 3 years. In Barcelona's old city, the number of people living there has gone down by 40% since 2000. Streets that once had local shops and families now have only tourist shops and holiday flats. People in places like Malaga and the Canary Islands felt this change deeply. They could not find regular shops like hardware stores because these shops do not make money from tourists. Old people felt like strangers in their own neighborhoods. Young people had to leave because they could not afford rent. Their cities felt less like home and more like a big theme park. This change is called touristification. It means cities become places just for entertainment, not for living. The places tourists love most often lose their real local feel because of too many tourists. Spain became too popular. Its beauty and culture were being changed by its own success. This made it very hard for ordinary Spaniards to live in their own country. The residents asked for a change, wanting their homes back.
5. Rich people from outside. Spain has become attractive for people with a lot of money from other countries. One reason was the Golden Visa program. This program started in 2013. It offered residency permits to people who bought property in Spain worth at least 500,000 euros. Many people from China, the United States, Russia, and the United Kingdom used this program. They bought expensive homes, often for investment. Between January and October in 2024 alone, about 780 golden visas were given out. The average investment was over 657,000 euros. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez spoke about this program. He said that most of these visas were for buying real estate. This made it very hard for local people to find good homes in big cities. He explained that these investments were making housing markets very stressed.
For people who live, work, and pay taxes in Spain, it was almost impossible to find decent housing. The Golden Visa program ended on April 3, 2025. Prime Minister Sánchez said it caused lacerating inequality. Besides the Golden Visa buyers, many other rich people moved to Spain. They were wealthy expatriates. These included British retirees and German or Scandinavian professionals. Many American tech workers and consultants also came, using Spain's digital nomad visa. This visa started in 2023. These people did not come to find work, they came for the lifestyle. They had much more money than local Spanish people. Think about a teacher in Madrid. This teacher might earn around 1,600 euros per month after taxes. But to rent an apartment in Madrid, it can cost 1,100 euros or more. Now think about a remote worker from a city like San Francisco. This person can earn a salary that is much higher in US dollars. When they change this money to euros, they have a lot of purchasing power. This means they can pay much higher rents or buy more expensive homes than local workers. This changed many city centers. Places like Barcelona's Eixample and Gothic Quarter saw old buildings become short-term rentals or second homes for foreigners. These areas started to feel like expat bubbles. Sometimes English was spoken more often than Spanish. This made local people feel like strangers in their own cities. It also caused resentment because they were being priced out of their neighborhoods. The arrival of wealthy people pushed up prices. This made life harder for the Spanish middle class. 6. Living with parents. Many young people in Spain find it hard to leave their parents' homes. This common situation has led to them being called the lost generation. They wish to live alone, marry, or start families, but the economy makes it very difficult. This is a significant problem in Spain today. Take Alejandro, for example. He is a 32-year-old engineer working for a technology company in Madrid. After taxes, he earns 1,600 euros each month. This is a good salary for someone his age. Still, Alejandro lives in his old bedroom at his parents' apartment in Leganés, a suburb of Madrid. He has always lived there, except for 3 years when he shared a flat with other students during university. Alejandro wants to move out and live independently. He also hopes to start a family one day. However, the cost of housing prevents this. He has looked at many apartments. One within 45 minutes of his office costs at least 1,100 euros per month. Often the price is closer to 1,300 euros. On top of that, he would pay around 150 euros for utilities like water, electricity, and internet. This means nearly all his income, 90%, would be spent just on rent and bills. He would have almost no money left to save or for other living expenses. Alejandro's situation is not unusual.
It is a common experience for his age group. The average age for young people to leave their parents' homes in Spain is 30.4 years. This is one of the highest ages in Europe. In Spain's most expensive areas, such as Catalonia, Madrid, the Balearic and Canary Islands, renting an apartment can cost more than a young person's entire monthly salary. For many, it is simply impossible to afford an independent home. This leads to a kind of arrested development. People in their 30s often live dependent on their parents for housing. Romantic relationships must happen under parental roofs. They might turn down job offers in other cities because moving means even higher rents. The decision to have children is often put off indefinitely because they cannot afford their own place. This has a strong emotional impact. Many young Spaniards feel depressed, anxious, and hopeless about their future. The way their parents lived, working hard to buy a home and raise a family, is no longer possible for them. Young Spaniards watch their parents, who bought apartments for much lower prices years ago, gain wealth from their property, but this path is closed to the younger generation. Some young people, if they do move out, live in piso compartido or shared flats, often with roommates. Sometimes even people in their 40s live this way. This is because a private place is too costly. This ongoing situation prevents a whole generation from building independent adult lives. They feel stuck, unable to progress, while facing rising rents and salaries that do not grow. 7. The government plans. The Spanish government understood that people needed help with housing. In 2023, it introduced a new housing law. This law tried to solve some problems. It said that rents could not rise too much in certain big cities. These were called stressed markets. Landlords had to explain why they increased rent. There were also plans to help landlords who kept rents low. The law also wanted to punish owners who left homes empty for a long time. One main idea of the law was to stop rent prices from going up so fast. This was meant to protect people like Sofia. For a short time, in places like Catalonia, rents did not go up as quickly. But when these rules ended, rents started to climb again. Some people said that these rent caps caused other problems. They believed that some landlords chose not to rent out their homes for a long time. Instead, they used them for short-term tourist rentals, or they kept them empty. This made fewer homes available for local people. The government also looked at the problem of too many tourist rentals. Barcelona, a very popular city, made big plans. It decided to stop all short-term tourist rentals by the year 2028. Other cities, like those in the Canary Islands, also started to make new rules. They wanted to control how many homes could be rented to tourists. This was to free up more homes for people who live and work there. Another step was to end the Golden Visa program. This program allowed rich people from other countries to get a visa if they bought expensive property in Spain. The Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, said this program made it harder for local people to find homes. So, the Golden Visa ended in 2025. But these actions were just part of the plan. The real challenge was to build more homes where people needed them. This was hard because of old rules and high building costs. Also, many people did not want new buildings in their areas. The government talked about creating a public company to build affordable homes. But such big plans need a lot of money and agreement from many different groups. These plans show a difficult fight. On one side are people who own property and want to make money. On the other side are people who need affordable homes. The government is trying to find a way, but it is not easy. It leaves many people wondering if a true political solution to Spain's housing crisis is really possible. 8. Is there hope? For many young Spaniards, hope means leaving their country. People like Maria, a 35-year-old teacher, faced a hard choice. She loved Spain, its culture, and her family, but she could not build a future there. Maria moved to Berlin for a teaching job. The salary was similar, but rent was half what she would pay in Madrid. She saw a small chance of buying a home in Berlin, something impossible in Spain. Maria is not alone. Many young, educated, and skilled Spaniards are leaving. This is called a brain drain. Spain brings in workers for low-paying jobs in hotels and restaurants, but it loses its best-educated people because they cannot afford to live in their own country. Young engineers, doctors, and teachers move to places like Germany or the Netherlands to find a life. Spain now faces a big decision. Will it become just a holiday place for rich people from other countries, a beautiful place to visit but impossible for its own citizens to live in? Or will it try to build an economy that helps its people? To make real change, Spain needs to do many things. It must build many more affordable homes. It must make it easier and faster to build new houses where people need them. The government must also choose its citizens' well-being over tourist money. This means changing rules for tourism and how property is taxed. Spain also needs to create more high-quality jobs, not just in tourism and building. Wages need to go up so people can actually afford to live. The people protesting in the streets understand this. They are not against visitors. They are against a system that treats their country as a product to be bought and sold. They want the right to live where they were born, to have a future in their own country. As the sun sets across Spain, many people ask, is Spain a place to live or just a place to visit? For too many, the answer is sad. Spain has become a trap. It has lost the ability to house its own people. It has focused so much on building houses that it forgot to create homes. Can a country truly be successful if its own people cannot afford to live there? This question is vital for Spain's future. What do you think? Can Spain find a way to make it possible for its own people to build a life there again?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.